Whether you're just starting out a business or you're a publicly traded multinational business, we handle incorporations of entities, and our professionals know that inside and out. We work very closely with your tax professionals, with your CPAs, and all of those that help make the decisions as to whether you want to incorporate, whether you want to be a partnership, whether you want to be an LLC or a combination of those entities. It's an important part of our practice. We literally form entities, hundreds of entities every year, and it's a great part of our practice, and we love helping entrepreneurial people get started in business. So Eric, tell us a little bit about, I know when we sit down with new clients, there's always that question of what type of entity that should we use to start this venture. Tell us how you get to that decision.
Absolutely. In Texas, the big three are limited liability companies, LLCs, corporations, and limited partnerships, or LPs. And usually people have a pretty good understanding of a limited liability company. They know they need to form something. So a limited liability company is oftentimes a pretty attractive option. Out of the two, between a limited liability company and a corporation, you're going to get the same protection, but generally a LLC will provide you a little bit more flexibility. So that is what makes it attractive for some of our clients.
Brian, I know you're relatively new to the practice, but you've been very involved in your time with the firm and sitting down with clients who are brand new to creating a business and having those discussions. What are the questions they ask you when they're brand new and they don't understand whether they ought to be incorporating or what they should be doing to start a business?
The questions range from everything, just what kind of company should I create, what kind of entity should I choose, what decisions do I have to make sure that I'm in compliance with all state requirements, that all of my corporate documents cover me and are going to help me do what I want to do for my business. So what we do is we help make things a little simpler for them to understand, pare down all the legalese and the state requirements into business talk so that they can truly get a grasp of what's required of them moving forward for their new entities.
That's great. We have a lot of clients, Eric, I know that come to us that are longtime clients, have entities that they already have in existence. And they come to us and say, I'm starting a new venture. And how do we help them with the structuring of various entities that are multi-related and are affiliates?
And that's a great question because we do have clients that already have an entity in place. And one thing that we always make sure of is to make sure that the entity that they do have is in compliance, that they're keeping up with all the filings and recordings. And sometimes when you have an individual that owns a company, they can get a little bit lax with their documents. So that's one of the services that we provide, and it's been really helpful for clients, is making sure that their documents are in compliance. But if they're coming to us and say, I have entity A and I'm looking at a different business, one of the things we'll figure out for them is kind of the ownership. Is it better to have entity A be an owner of entity B? Or could we set those up potentially as subsidiaries? Is there a parent-subsidiary relationship? Or could it be same ownership? So, and it's really important when there is another entity in place to make sure that we properly incorporate that into the new entity. So it's something that clients do often, that we've worked with a lot of clients on to make sure that they're in compliance.
One of the barriers we always deal with when people come to us for corporations or how they want to handle setting up a new entity is if there's more than one partner dealing with the issue of how those partners relate on an ongoing basis. Brian, tell us a little bit about the buy-sell and the things that we have to do to make sure that people are protected on an ongoing basis when they start a new entity.
Sure, it really depends on what type of entity they want to use for their company. With limited liability companies, you can set them up either as member managed or manager managed. And those decisions really must be dictated by what kind of power each individual partner wants to have in that business, and then how they're going to adjust it if things change down the road. So buy-sell agreements and other contractual terms written into the company agreements help them to set forth a clear path of this is how we're going to handle something if change of management has to happen or we want to change who's making decisions.